another each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Sure. Yeah. I'm like buzzing. And it's no good. When this happens, my heart starts going really, really fast. Um, Gotta put that in there. Sometimes I just feel like I don't want to bug people too much. Other people got lives going on, things like that. But I'm too excited. I need to calm down a little bit. I don't know what it's been, but it's just something that keeps telling me that I haven't reached the person that I need to reach today. I've been reaching out to friends and stuff, but um, I think what it is that there's something in my head that's saying I need to get something else done, but really I don't. I mean, I could do more today, but um, if I do that, then I'm going to start bringing everybody else in and things like that. We don't have any mutual friends, dude. I'm weird on friend requests. I don't just somebody sends me a friend request. There's actually a very good chance I'm not going to accept it, especially if I don't know you. Sorry, well, nobody was here, so you can see my nipples. Oh no, oh no. So long as my wife says it's okay, right? So I may be excited, but if nobody shows up, it won't be as exciting. I'll still be talking because one way or another, I got to get this off my chest. Did I share it? I don't know if I did. See, that's what's going on. I don't even know if I shared it to the group yet. So now I got to go look. Yes, I did. Okay. So may I give you an example of how I do my. Let's do that. Why not? Nobody's here and I want to screw around a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen. Here's my Facebook. All right. So here's my Facebook, right? And so I'm going to go to this guy, 288, 298 friends, right? So there's 298 friends. I'm just screwing around right now, showing people how I do friend requests. Then what I do is I scroll down and I'm going to kind of take a look at the friends, right? Because I don't know this person. Maybe they found me somewhere on Facebook, something like that. So all we have is updated profile pictures. Nobody's saying anything. So I'm not actually going to delete that request. I'm actually going to write him and say, hey, why'd you send me a friend request? Is there something I could do? Can I help you? Things like that. So, yeah. No real topic. It's just Dion's so excited that if he doesn't do something, he's just going to keep putting messages in the Hayworth house and bug everybody all day. And I don't, yeah. So already, already enough going on. So, but the neat thing is, and I've kind of talked about it a little bit and I put it on Facebook. Really, the neatest thing was, hi, Ingrid. Good to see you.
Hi, Ingrid.
I didn't do this. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion Zatasdaro. If you're here, please say hello, unless you're Ingrid, who has already said hello. It was the fact that a group of people voted for the right thing. That is what made me the happiest. Because I've been doing it alone for so long and making these decisions, and I kind of felt like there's a part of this that was going the wrong way. And now I don't feel that way anymore because now it feels like God's involved and there's different things happening, a lot of great suggestions. I mean, and the list continues to move on. I mean, I wrote down more stuff last night, like phones. Do they get phones? Mission statement. What liability do we have? Keurig. See how it's totally different, right? Liability. Child visitations. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on with it. Got to make a donation list. So I'm trying to organize it and have other people help me without and sound. You can't hear me. Everybody else can hear me. Let me check.
I can hear you.
I'm gonna double check it here though. Audio. Yeah. I will just tell her. No. Yeah, and then she's asking if her. I do this because Ingrid listens all the time. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Anything I can do. I'm powerless. Restart your device. There you go.
Maybe if she's got earbuds on, the Bluetooth isn't connected. Who knows? I don't know. But then she'd hear it on her phone, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with phones. If you like, if you go to Zoom meetings with your phone,
that's what I do.
I have to restart my phone sometimes because sometimes it won't even leave the meeting.
Right, exactly. That's where mine hangs up.
Yeah, and I'll be like, "Why is Zoom call going on?" I'll hit it, and it just says preparing meeting. So I have to reset it. For some reason, Zoom messes with the sound. Like my sound will be a lot less after Zoom. I always have to use 5G whenever I use my internet. It just doesn't work. So yeah. So much for blazing speed internet.
Right.
The neat thing about this is, you know, the relationships that I've been working on and people in recovery and you know, professionals that help us out and these doctors and psychiatrists and executive directors. We're all on the same page now, and I'm excited. That one of the things I'm really excited about is the fact that now there's going to be 12-step calls again. You know, we had to create Night Watch so that we didn't get bored because no phone calls were coming in. And when I see a problem like that, it's like, well, what do we do to solve it? And you know, if we can have the detox, you know, maybe a peer support specialist isn't there. Maybe they want to talk to somebody in AA. Then have them call that hotline. It's not even on their resources, you know, and you know, sometimes it might be hard because East Metro detoxes in Aurora, where, you know, Daryl's in Fort Collins. You know, what if you get a phone call? Well, I have an old computer. We'll just set it up that just goes straight to our Zoom, and they can talk to a person. Maybe it'll be Zoom, but at least they're talking to another peer. And it's at least a little bit more face to face than over the phone, right? So those are just some of the ideas that are coming up. You know, I have friends that are looking for jobs but not the jobs that are out there, or they're on, you know, disability, so they can only make so much money. Well, I'm perfect for that because we don't charge much money. I was talking to one person and they're like, you know, I'm thinking about going back to recovery coaching. I'm like, no, let's make you a peer support specialist. That's much better than a recovery because that's what you are. Hey, Amber, thank you for stopping by. I don't know what's going on because it's not even giving us the counter and everything. So something's going on. But, you know, even with that, because, you know, they were like, well, but even them, it's weird because they're more than a recovery coach. They're more than a peer support specialist. They're a trainer, and I can see it. I can see the trainer in them. And they're like, yeah, but I can't work full time and it can't be that much money. I'm like, well, that works out because then you get to charge less, you have more people, and you get to help more people because you decide to charge less because you're trying to help people, and you're making a little bit of money off of it. I tell you now, a recovery coach certificate, which you can just print offline, is anywhere from $750 to $1,250 for the first 60 hours. So
$1,250.
yeah, $1,250. But they'll be happy to look for a scholarship for you.
Well, yeah.
Now, the way this will work, let's say I have somebody that's training, or I need to rephrase that. Let's say there's somebody training, right? Well, that person's going to train the people that work at Detox, that work at the Sober Livings. They're going to go to work for a company, just like with everything else that we do. What about these people that now have a year, have gone through the program, and want to pass it on and be a recovery coach? A lot of people are going to want to do that. So it's just exciting, and that's just an example, but it's just nice to see that my work is coming to fruition and that it's working. So more of a relief than anything, but now I got a million ideas in my freaking head and it won't shut up.
I can tell.
Yeah. blah, blah, blah. It's not much better than when I'm in a bad mood because I don't shut my mouth then either, right? But excitement is just something that I haven't dealt with well in the past. And so I'm just trying to do it a different way. And the only way that I know is to kind of tell on myself and get it off my chest. I mean, I'm already feeling, I don't want to say better, but more serene, right? That
the purge.
Yeah. Well, that's probably not the right thing to do here. Because some
Probably,
people
different purge.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're not in an OA meeting.
Well, then there's that.
Yeah, when you tell what I'm excited because I'll make joke after joke. So, yeah, it's just this extra energy and just like anger. When I have anger, I have to put it in the right place. There's a place for it, right? And excitement's the same thing. There's a place for it. And bugging all my friends while they're trying to work isn't going to be it, right? So I've kind of been bugging people that don't work today. I won't be putting any more in the Hayworth house today because if I do that, I'll start confusing everyone. And we're on a great track. It was nice to have that meeting. There wasn't any arguing. Everybody was, it's cool, and now we're talking about
what was cool about that was somebody would say something and we would key off on that and say, well, okay, how do we do this, that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the vote was the vote, and it changed from perspective wise from when we got into the group with another direction.
Yeah. And
so that was cool. And everybody was like, yeah, we're all in.
Yeah. That's what's great about a group with the same intentions is, nobody's going to really get what they want, but we will find out what the actual need is.
Oh,
yeah. And in this case, go ahead.
The consensus was when the focus shifted to women being more in need because of particular reasons, blah, 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 more vulnerable, blah, all those things. My head went, yeah, that fucking makes sense.
Makes a lot more sense. Yeah. But because I'm a man, that's what my head went towards Men's House because I'm going to be there. But see, now it's not me. Now it's us. And
Right.
that makes it better because that need is there. And I've thought about it even more. If we open up a woman's house first, because women tend to need more things, makeup and guys,
Whatever it may be,
yeah,
their needs,
supplies.
their
I
ne-
don't,
their
yeah,
needs might be greater.
yeah,
I don't know, but
exactly.
yeah,
So when we open the men's house, we'll already understand everything that we need, but it won't be as much. So it
right.
actually is better because it's going to make us think a little bit further on it. Um, Now the consensus was, well, we were trying to decide whether we were co-ed or not, and we went through that discussion, and I thought that was a great discussion. Everybody was heard, things like that. So what we're going to do is the focus is to open the women's first, and if we can open the men's at the same time, great. But if we can't, then it's going to be the women's first, and that's that. So this is the way I see it. We're going to open the women's first, and if the men's opens too, then it's a happy coincidence. That's kind of what I'm going with it. But it does help because then it gives a little more focus. Now I'm not over here and over there and over there.
What it did for me was like kind of like when I had that talk with the atheists. I was coming from a place of ignorance or
Hmm.
naivete, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
and I don't know all the needs. I don't know all of
correct.
how do I help a woman being a man type of deal. I mean, it
Yeah,
isn't just like being a husband. It's more intense than that because these ladies are in trouble.
yeah,
They're at risk, type of thing. So for me, I'm excited simply from an educational perspective.
yeah, yeah,
I get
yeah.
to
We
learn.
learn more. We learn
Yeah.
more. Um, I think, but the more I think on it, yes, the need more is there. I mean, we're talking domestic violence,
All of
sexual
that.
stuff, which I
All of that crap,
prefer, but
man.
yeah, all the stupid shit that men do, they need to be protected from. I'll just put it that way. Or from what
Yeah, that
society.
would be probably the emphasis on that kind of thing, but it's not always just men.
Correct.
Women on women is pretty severe sometimes too.
Yeah. I'm not
And
gonna
I
get
don't mean I don't
into
mean in the same sex relationship type of deal. I'm just
yeah,
talking ladies can be brutal
yes, they can.
to each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, some of those fights I see a little bit more violent than men, but I think
I mean, kind of sounds misogynistic, but it isn't meant to be.
no, it's
It's
not.
meant because you're going to broaden my horizon,
Correct. Yeah.
and so that I can be a better service.
Mhm.
Even if that service is here, let me find another female for you to talk with you and blah blah blah, whatever that case may be.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, it's like Ashley has fucking grown my ass up
Mhm.
leaps and bounds,
Sure.
especially perspective wise, because we talk and she shares with me and she goes,
Mhm.
no, that's the wrong way to think about that. You need to think about it this way. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. My wife teaches me how to work with my son. He has PTSD also, but when you have PTSD and the other person does, boom. So I had to learn how to approach. And it took, but now, since I've done that approach a couple of times, now it's more natural. And he and I, we don't argue. Now we talk. And, and he's filling me in on things with his life. Like a month ago, he wouldn't tell me he was going to get his emissions and what he was doing, but now he does that stuff. And is because Shannon showed me how to do it the right way. You're right. When it comes to a lot of this stuff, I think I'm naive. Absolutely. And that's why it's a we thing, you know. So now my challenge is I'm looking for women that can volunteer there. See, I already had the men. I had that covered. But see, what if? See, I was too far forward, looking for a house manager. Now those thoughts are on my mind too. Now, granted, that doesn't mean, I mean, do we get to a point where we even let people know where the house is at and stuff? You know what I mean? I mean, there's
You know,
those are
and
conversations to have.
having 8 years of working with, or 9 years actually, our domestic violence run.
Okay.
It was Colorado's biggest event that we had every year.
Awesome.
And talking with these Eastern Plains shelter and stuff like that, that's one of the things that we probably need to like keep close to the vest, my opinion, because a lot of these ladies have experienced domestic violence in a horrible way,
Yeah. And we
type
should,
of thing.
I feel like
And
we
the
should,
people that perpetrated on them might still be out there gunning for them.
looking for them. Yes. I've got a couple friends right now. I ain't gonna tell anybody even what state they're in. No.
right.
And even then,
I
I'm like,
can think,
you shouldn't even have told me. That was too easy for you to tell
right.
me. You know.
And
So,
I know of one just because of that.
yeah. But what that does is just like we were talking about trans and we were trying to figure it out. But the answer was we need to ask the trans people because we don't know, you know.
Yep.
And that's why I like the discussion. It's like, okay, we don't know. So how are we going to find out? How are we going to find out? So, I'm going to go to some LGBTQ meetings and I'm going to ask. I'm just say, what if you went into a house, what would it need to look like for you to feel safe and do your recovery? And it's just to help me help you. Yeah, the women in the meeting last night had some great things, man.
Yeah.
Even Amber was like, I'm just going to come listen. And then she joined in because it's hard to not be a part of at this point with it because it's in its infancy stage and there's a lot of opportunity. So
I think one of the things that impressed me, maybe lack of a better word, about that wasn't, how do I want to put it? It was wanting to know rather than being afraid of it.
yeah. I hear
It's
that.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could go, oh, I don't want to get into that and have to deal with this and that. And it's like, yeah, I do. But how do I do it correctly?
That's right. I think, and I'll just put it my way because I hear what you're saying. We're doing really good at having hard conversations because nobody in the group is going to really get anything out of it except a great life and knowing that you're helping. So that intention is there.
Yeah, the intent is what I'm all about. It's like, this is why we're doing it. We just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. And we're probably going to be wrong more often than we're going to be wrong a lot till we get to the right.
We're going to stub toes.
And yeah, we are. It will happen. But we did, even last night, we talked about a very hard topic, which was the co-ed. And there were some feelings behind it. Yes. But the main thing is everybody's feelings were respected. That's the main. And when we do that, that makes it makes people be a part of more. Those feelings are valid. I get that. And now that we're talking about this, safety is my number one concern. It is
number one.
It is my number one concern. Can I make it a safe space? No, but I can make it as safe as possible to create a safe space.
But that's a co-ed issue too, because we need to make, when the men's house starts, we need to make that safe as well.
And and that's why the women's house, I think it that will help us set the standard.
If we can get that right, we can do.
The women's house wouldn't be safe.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Exactly. It's like if we can get a women's transition house going and do it right and do it well. Learn from the mistakes we're going to make. Setting up a men's house would be a breeze.
Exactly.
Well, we can be simpler. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what did Dr. Bob? What was the last thing Dr. Bob said to Bill W? He said, "Let's not louse this up. Keep it simple, Bill."
All right.
Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. And before I move on,
Hi, Michelle.
I got a text from Ingrid, and she wanted me to say hi to Daryl and Amber. So her internet jacked up. You don't know until you get in together and ask people not that people do not know that they have input until they start listening and are invited to contribute. Yeah, well, we're a bunch of alcoholics who, we weren't ever really heard. So when we get into situations like this and people aren't arguing, going at each other's throats, yeah, they feel more comfortable to say, hey, I hear what you guys are saying, but this is kind of how I feel about it. Is there something? And we talk about, yeah, you know what? That's a great point. And we encourage each other like that, and then you don't get shit for it, then you're more likely to speak up again. One of my things is there are no stupid questions, just silly answers. I don't care what the question is, because I'm naive to a lot of things. Here's one for you. I used to be on the West Side Drug Free Youth Team, right? And I was what they called the closet vato loco because I was the only white person in the group, right? And we were sitting around one day, and I said, "When is Cinco de Mayo?" I didn't hear the end of that. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I knew I was screwed because I knew what it was. See, and that was just me being naive because I was a white boy. So and I got a lot of flack for that one. They definitely gave me a hard time. It's also when I developed my love for green chili. So but yeah, and I think that's the exciting. Those are the exciting parts. Number one, there's a comfort in knowing that there's a group of people doing it right. It not only brings me joy, but it brings me comfort knowing that, yeah, there's people doing this because it was very confusing in the beginning. And it was hard for me to explain what my concept was until I actually figured it out. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I mean, East Metro Detox sent me a job description. They're asking us to help hire the new executive director for East Metro Detox. That's how involved we're getting. We're working on legislation next year in July where, and all of these things are connected. And even then, I talk about, I do more. There's things that need to be done. Like I've been searching, I need a C-car trainer, or we do,
Need a what?
C-car trainer. They're a recovery coach trainer. This I was talking about earlier. Or what we can do is we can go into like a peer support specialist, and that is not a certificate. It isn't a degree. I don't know what you would call it, but it's a lot more hours and it's a lot more intensive and it has a lot more to it, but you don't pay for it. The company you go to work for does, like Aurora Mental Health or Adams County. And those are the types of jobs that we're going to create that's going to go on the Second Chance program for Adams County. So there's all these moving parts, and I've had to take them and kind of whoop, that reminded me of that time Donald Duck lost the egg and his wife was coming home because he was trying to do a magic trick. And he's like, whoop, whoop. His mom's coming, oh, no, come on. See, told you.
What's up,
Hey,
Gary?
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So, yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say on it without going into other things. Um, but I like this proactive approach that we're all doing. We all know what's going on out there, and it hasn't been brought up at all. And our focus has been, what do we need to do to help, man? And that's all it is. You know, there's no, it's just, it's been a while to be that, it's been a while for me to be in a group of people who are like-minded. I think that's what it comes down to.
So I think the excitement of being able to help somebody is my motive type of deal.
Mhm.
But the oh, I'm at a loss for words, and I am never at a loss for words.
I
The
think it's,
anticipation, the
uh-huh.
anticipation of seeing that very first resident go, it's time for me to go out on my own and leave the house.
And we will celebrate it too.
Oh, where you just
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna
yeah,
have going away
get out the
parties.
cannons and everything else.
Yeah. And then when that happens, what's next? Alumni.
Right, exactly.
Those,
But I mean,
those
just
people coming out of our houses are going to be our new, so our new managers are going to be our new, yeah.
it was like for me as a salesperson, it wasn't closing the deal. I mean, it was to an extent,
I get it.
but I had this one project that I worked on for years and happened to be a person in recovery, was a purchasing agent for a very large generic pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
And I put all these pieces of the puzzle together to get them a bulk inert gas system where they could create their chemical blah blah blah. They made generic pills up in Broomfield. But anyway, it was about putting the pieces of the puzzles together.
Yeah.
To make that happen. Once it happened and I got the signature on there, it was like, okay, what's next? Because it was that part was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Actually getting it in place and working out, finding those solutions is where I got my kick out of that. And for this, seeing that first person actually grow up and strap on a set of whatevers and say, okay, I need to go take this on the road for himself or herself. I can't wait for that moment.
Yeah.
Then it'll be what's next. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, well, you're going to be the first alumnus, and so you're going to start an alumni.
Exciting. Yeah. There's
now you're involved.
Did you ever? He recently moved to Oklahoma, but did you ever know Mark Hope?
Yes.
Okay, he's actually a very good friend of mine, and
the other part of
what we're doing is some of these people may not go for these jobs, and what he will do is help and he's going to help people with their financials and stuff, and he charges $500 an hour, but for us, no, because of what we do, and he's in recovery, so that helps. But he's going to help some of these people start their own businesses, like plumbing, electrician, and he's going to show them how to run a business, and then hire people in recovery, and see how that just keeps going. Now that is something that's outside, but it's another resource that we have. I have 20 people like that, that I can trust. Because the one thing that I am very big on is that I am responsible for my resources. I am. If we're not working together and I don't know what you're doing over there, I'm going to be pretty hesitant on, whether it's a treatment center
or if you become that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or to become that. Exactly.
If you're all of a sudden taking advantage of what we got going on here and you start to become that, you're going to have a bunch of eyes and feet up your ass to explain your actions.
it's going to be very, very hard between you, me, Michelle, Marcia, Amber, everybody in that group. You ain't going to be able to somebody in that group will recognize it because
Yep.
most of us have been working fraud most of our lives. So we can see it a mile. So when I say that God hands me the people that we need to do this, I mean, it's down to a literal sense. You know?
It's like you're not going to become a grifter amongst a bunch of grifters.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. We need to, help them with other things. There's
Yeah.
there's so many things to be taught. We teach them how to sew. We could teach, you know how to sew? I know how to sew. Okay, why don't you come down here and teach these folks how to sew, man? We'll make some God bags, Hey, who's good at putting up websites? I am. Okay, well, you need to go to Etsy, put this stuff together so we can start making some money off of this. We're being self-supported. So everybody is needed. Everyone. My job
Yeah,
is to figure out what's needed and then find the person to fill that need. That's my job.
I think creating a site for merch is going to be critical.
Yeah.
Whether whatever it is that we're putting on there, whether it's Amber's coins
Mhm.
or t-shirts or whatever that we can use. Yeah, I just think that's going to be an integral part of how we fundraise at some
Yeah.
point.
Just a quick little quip here. So yesterday I put in, did anybody else think a House on Haunted Hill?
I saw that.
And it was because Shannon brought it up to me. And so I was wondering, because I'm like, I didn't think that. She's like, I think other people did, which makes this shirt, I Survived Hill House, even better. It's just, yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, so now what we have is recovery you're looking for, whatever you want to look for in life, we got it. And if we ain't got it yet, we know who to go to get it for you.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Okay, we'll help you with that.
Exactly.
Because we can.
Working with people's passions, man. I love it because it gets so enthusiastic. It's me enthusiastic, and I just want to do more for them. Yeah, it's gonna be. But I agree. The part that'll be the best is when we have our first graduate. You bet. And we may not even call it graduation or whatever.
No, what you calls it graduation up in.
Yeah, and I don't want to be
in Estes. It's like, no, man, we don't graduate.
Yeah. We're
always the student.
Participation awards. We got to stay away from appeasing. You bet. But there's got to be, let's say you did well. You know what? Here, you know what it is? Okay, you got your year, so now you get to go speak. You get to be on the podcast. We'll just give them some stuff, and now you're a little bit more.
When an elementary school student finishes their last year and goes into middle school, they call it continuation.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we just
go. So we're going to have a continuation ceremony.
Yeah. Well, that's just like, we were like, okay, do we call them boarders, clients, residents? What do we call them? Even right down to that, we're thinking of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to, because that was a great point.
Mm-hmm.
And what Michelle stated, it's like we have to be careful, because then all of a sudden you're getting into renter lease type of scenarios that is covered by law.
Yeah.
And to have somebody, whether they screw up, let's use the 3-strike example, they just hit their 3rd strike and we need them to leave because they're obviously not contributing. They're becoming a deficit rather than an asset.
They're not working on their recovery.
And they put their foot, draw the line in the sand, say, no, I'm not going nowhere. Kick me out. And, so we have to be very careful on the language that we use.
What crossed my mind while you were saying that was hostels. How do hostels work? Because you stay there 1, maybe 2 nights. Maybe we could take a look at that and kind of combine. Really, it's about the longevity. What it comes down to is if you screw up, I can't have you in a 6-month lease because I can't kick you out. That's what you're into.
It's funny that you said that because I read a story yesterday. There's a guy staying at the Waldorf Astoria in New York,
Okay.
and he paid for one night,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been there for 10 years because he used New York's laws, landlord tenant type laws,
Yep.
and he hasn't paid a dime.
Yep.
And they are just now getting another court date on trying to get him out of there. He went as far as
It's been 10
because
years.
he went, yeah, he's exactly, but he went as far as he started invoicing other people staying at the hotel to pay him rent because the interpretation, the way he did the interpretation of the language and what have you, made him an owner.
Yeah.
That's how extreme it can get.
It can. And the thing is alcoholics are very smart people, and they will, if there is a loophole, they will find it.
10 years he has been in that building.
Yeah. All they had to do was just shut down the building and move. But
they actually sold it, and he kept that in what do they call that, perpetuum or whatever that is.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so it didn't matter that they sold it.
He just still lives there.
And he still, you can Google it.
Yeah.
New York hotel permanent resident, something like that. It just happened to come up on
like
one of those
or something.
Yeah, just somewhere on my feed.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I was just looking at it going, holy crap. Because how many, I mean, we've heard about, especially since COVID, how many squatter situations are out there? A ton.
Yeah.
Type of deal. And so we have to be very careful about how we word that. And so,
well, there's ways,
and that's why her contracts would be good.
This lease is good unless you do this, or this, kind of a thing.
You put those disclaimers in there.
That's where M. Avery, because I don't want to get, that's where she comes in really handy because she already has those contracts.
Right.
We could just read through them and we can pick and choose. Let's just steal what's best because that's what's best. And we don't copy and paste. No, we got to be, we are tentative about it. But
it's just got to be, you got to have, you can call it a waiver, you can call it whatever, where people have to sign it to come in.
Yeah.
Type of deal. It's like, so you absolutely indemnify yourself.
Yeah. There's going to have to be, we might even have RORs and stuff. So,
exactly.
And when it comes down to it, we have to abide by HIPAA. Yes, we do. So in other words, we can't.
Yeah, we can't
take a picture of the person exiting it and throw it on Facebook and say, look what we did. No. Mm-mm.
No, well, that and there's just things that we won't be able to discuss.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably have them sign a HIPAA release, but still, there are parts that you will not be able to discuss. You want to be able to discuss it with that client, whatever you want to call him, but you cannot bring that up and say, even at like a board meeting.
Nope.
You can't say, well, John Doe over here has this going on, blah, blah, blah. You can't do it.
Yeah, not at a board meeting. Now, if it was a staff meeting and like a detox, then it's something different. But in that situation,
correct.
No.
Anything outside the realm of whatever that waiver covered.
Yeah. And we can even have things like sponsorship meetings. Hey, everybody show up to the house if you're looking for sponsees, and we just match them up so that everybody gets sponsored up and things like that.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
So, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been 45 minutes and Dion needs to pee.
I'm shocked.
At least I know I'm drinking enough liquids.
Yeah. Or you're diabetic. I'm here to tell you that's a symptom.
No, I'm not. I'm just diabetic. The real diabetics are over there. I figure I just throw some alcoholic humor in it. I know.
Right.
I'm working on my smoking first, then sugar will be next. So, and I've cut half of my cigarettes out. So,
You're getting anxiety.
actually, you know what? You know what makes me smoke more? Excitement. That's the number one thing that'll make me smoke. That and alcohol. So,
Anyway,
when I drink, it's one cigarette after another. And I'll do it in my room playing video games. I don't care if I'm sticking up the whole fucking house, fuck you.
have you ever woke up? Hold on. I had to get my kisses. Have you ever woke up the next morning and your chest just feels like you just dropped an anvil on it because you smoked a whole pack of cigarettes in 4 hours?
Yeah, like somebody was standing on your chest. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I'm cutting back, because it's getting a little harder to breathe. So,
yeah, it's like that's why I went to this thing.
yeah. So
Anyway,
all right. Well, thank you, everybody. People were in and out and stuff, but it's Friday, it's snowing, and so
we finally got snow.
Did
I'm happy
you?
you do that.
Well, this weekend, I will put in the chat, and we'll figure out our next meeting time. So we'll probably have to have several meetings in succession till we get everything organized. And I'm thinking, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll ask the group. That's what we'll do.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I'm back to my. I should be here. I was here, and now I'm not here. So, yay, progress.
It'll build. Don't worry.
No, after this, I'm gonna play video games. Pew! Turn my
Yeah.
brain off. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get lost in. There's a if you've ever seen it, I think it's on Netflix. The Diplomat.
It seems like I've seen that.
Yeah, the new season is out, and it's a good show.
Okay. My wife,
but-
I would highly recommend anybody, the new Matlock with Kathy Bates.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Watch the first episode and then you can decide. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't want to give away the premise. That's what you'll like, is you'll love the premise. So, but I don't want to blow it. I don't like it.
Check out the Diplomat. It's pretty good.
If you're in recovery.
The Diplomat is kind of like the West Wing.
Man. You'll feel some justice, which is nice. We need justice every now and again. Maybe that's the other thing that's going on with me, justice. So, I love you.
Love you, brother. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Daryl.
Bye, Gary, Michelle, Amber, Ingrid. Peace.